When Karen from the HOA slapped a $4,000 fine on my garage door for my electric car charger, I thought it was a joke until she threatened to seize my house. She figured she could bully me into ripping out the charger I'd installed for my new Tesla, but what she didn't know was that her power trip was about to short circuit. See, I'm not just some guy with an EV. I'm sitting on a secret that could black out her entire Oak Ridge Estates empire. I own the neighborhood's power lines. If you've ever wanted to see an HOA get zapped, this story's for you. Where are you watching from? Hit the comments. I want to know how strong our anti-HOA crew is. My name's Lucas Bennett, 34, an electrical engineer who ditched Seattle's tech grind for a quieter life in Oak Ridge Estates, a suburban haven in central Arizona. After a decade wiring smart grids for utilities, I craved a place with open skies, big lots, and room for my EV projects. Oak Ridge seemed ideal: modern homes, desert views, and just enough distance from Phoenix to feel free. The HOA fees were a steep $400 a quarter, but the realtor swore it was for elite amenities like a gated entry and xeriscaped medians. What she didn't mention was Karen Delaney, the 43-year-old HOA president who ran this place like a desert dictator. I met Karen a week after moving in. She pulled up in a roaring red SUV, her blonde ponytail bouncing like a whip. "Welcome to Oak Ridge, Lucas," she said, shoving a binder thicker than a circuit manual into my hands. "Our bylaws keep this community pristine. I'm sure you'll fit in once you learn the rules." Her smile was sharper than a cactus spine, and her eyes lingered on my dusty work boots like they were a crime. That was my first hint I'd landed in a control freak's paradise. For months, I kept my head down. I paid my dues, trimmed my agave to the HOA's exact specs, and skipped the monthly meetings which my neighbor Riley Nguyen, a 29-year-old app developer with a knack for hacking, called Karen's Power Pageant. Riley was a lifesaver, always tinkering in his garage, tossing me a soda when I passed by. "Watch out for Karen," he warned. "She's got spies and a vendetta for anything unapproved." Trouble sparked on a scorching July morning. I'd spent weeks installing a level 2 EV charger in my garage. $2,000 worth of high-tech wiring to juice up my Tesla Model Y. It was my pride, a step toward a sustainable life in a neighborhood obsessed with gas-guzzling trucks. I was testing the Chargers app when Karen's SUV screeched into my driveway. She stormed out, heels clicking, waving a piece of paper like a warrant. "Lucas Bennett, what is that?" she barked, pointing at my Charger's sleek wall unit. "You can't install industrial equipment without HOA approval." I blinked, wiping sweat from my brow. "Industrial? Karen, it's an EV charger. It's in my garage for my car." Her lips curled into a smirk. "It's an unapproved modification, violating Article 8, Section 4 of the bylaws. It's a safety hazard and an eyesore." She slapped the paper into my hand, a violation notice demanding I remove the charger and pay a $4,000 fine within 30 days or face a lien. I stared at the notice, my blood boiling. "Karen," I read the bylaws. "There's no rule against EV chargers, and Arizona law protects them." She crossed her arms, smug. "The board decides what's safe, and I say it's a problem. Pay up, or we'll escalate." She strutted back to her SUV, leaving me in a cloud of dust, fuming. That night, I dug into the HOA bylaws, 250 pages of micromanaging drivel. Riley was right. Article 8, Section 4 vaguely mentioned exterior equipment requiring approval, but chargers weren't listed, and Arizona's House Bill 2456 shield homeowners' rights to install EV charging stations. The fine was a sham, a flex to make me bow. But I'm an engineer. I solve problems, not create them. Karen had just tripped the wrong wire. I called Riley the next morning, still pissed. "She's fining me $4,000 for a charger that's legal." He sighed, sipping an energy drink. Classic Karen. She's been telling the block watcher a tech bro ruining the vibe. Says your charger's a fire risk. Fire risk? I scoffed. "She's got a V12 engine, but I'm a hazard." Riley leaned in. "She's up to something. Keeps bragging about an energy efficiency plan to jack up property values. Her brother's company, Delaney Power Company, is all over the HOA budget." That rang a bell. I'd seen a line item in the HOA's online portal. Energy Consulting, $20,000. Delaney Power Company. Suspicious. I hit the county recorder's website, pulling up my property records. Everything was clean, but a footnote mentioned an easement tied to Bennett Family Trust, 1965, utility infrastructure. My late grandfather, a lineman, had mentioned a trust before he passed, something about keeping the lights on. I'd ignored it, thinking it was just old family lore. I rummaged through a storage box in my garage, finding a dusty folder labeled Bennett Trust. Inside was a map of Oak Ridge Estates, with red lines marking underground power cables, dozens of them crisscrossing the neighborhood, all labeled Property of Bennett Family Trust, leased to Arizona Power Corporation. My heart skipped. If this was real, I didn't just own my house. I owned the arteries of Oak Ridge's electricity. The next HOA meeting was a week away, and I decided to show up. The community center was packed, 50 residents, Karen presiding like a queen in a red blazer. She spotted me, her eyes narrowing. "Mr. Bennett," she said, voice dripping venom. "Care to explain why you're ignoring our violation notice and endangering our community?" I stood, holding the bylaws. "Happy to, Karen. Your fine's baseless. There's no rule against EV chargers, and Arizona law backs me." "I'm not paying," the crowd murmured. Greg Turner, the 47-year-old HOA treasurer and Karen's yes man, jumped in. "The board has authority over safety, and your charger's a risk." "Prove it," I shot back. "Or explain why Delaney Power Company, your brother's firm, got $20,000 from our dues for consulting that's not in county records." The room went quiet. Greg fidgeted, and Karen's smile froze. I'd hit a nerve, but I needed more proof. As the meeting ended, Karen fixed me with a glare. "You have 15 days to pay, Lucas, or we'll lien your property and sue." "Don't push me." I walked out, adrenaline pumping, knowing I'd just declared war. That night, I emailed my grandfather's old lawyer, Emma Ruiz, a 52-year-old property law expert, attaching the trust map. Her reply came at midnight. "Lucas, this is huge. Your trust owns the neighborhood's power lines, leased to Arizona Power for $1,000 a year since '65. You could renegotiate or cut their grid. We need to verify." As I stared at the map, my phone pinged with a new HOA email, a notice of intent to lien for the $4,000 fine, plus a $2,000 defamation penalty for my meeting outburst. Karen was coming for me, but what she didn't know was that I'd just found the circuit breaker to her entire operation. Tomorrow, I'd start rewiring her world. When Karen Delaney tacked on a $2,000 defamation fine to my $4,000 EV charger penalty, she thought she'd short-circuit my life. Her lien threat, emailed like a corporate eviction notice, aimed to scare me into submission, but she had no clue I'd just uncovered a live wire. My family's Bennett Trust owns the underground power lines feeding Oak Ridge Estates. Karen figured she could unplug me, but I was about to rewire her entire game. If you're sick of HOA tyrants, stick with me. This is where the sparks fly. Got a story to share? Hit the comments. I want to see how big this crew can get. The morning after the HOA meeting, I woke to a slashed tire on my Tesla, a jagged cut that screamed sabotage. A post-it note was tucked under the wiper. "Follow the rules, or else." No signature, but Karen's venom was all over it. By noon, my inbox pinged with an official HOA letter from Greg Turner, the treasurer with the spine of a jellyfish. Notice of lien, it declared, claiming my $6,000 in fines for $1,000 plus $2,000. Justified seizing my house if unpaid in 10 days. The gall was almost electric. I called Riley Nguyen, my TechWiz neighbor, to vent. "They're threatening a lien for a charger that's legal," I said, pacing my garage. Riley groaned, his keyboard clacking in the background. "Karen's on a warpath. She's telling the block watch you're a fire hazard with that charger. Says you're tanking our home values." "Fire hazard?" I laughed, bitter. "Her SUV's a gas tank, and I'm the problem?" "It's worse," Riley said, lowering his voice. "She's pushing this energy efficiency plan at private board meetings. Keeps mentioning her brother's company, Delaney Power Company. I hacked their budget portal. $80,000 paid to them over 4 years for grid upgrades that don't exist." That lit a fuse. Karen wasn't just bullying me. She was running a racket. I needed to confirm the trust's power, so I drove to Phoenix to meet Emma Ruiz, my grandfather's lawyer, at her no-nonsense office. Emma, a 52-year-old with a steel gaze and a knack for dismantling red tape, greeted me with a nod. "Lucas, let's see that trust map." I handed over the Bennett Trust folder, its 1965 power line map yellowed but clear. Emma traced the red lines with a pen, eyes widening. "This is gold. Your trust owns the underground cables, 50 miles of them, leased to Arizona Power Corp for $1,000 a year since '65. The lease renews next month, and you can renegotiate for millions or terminate it, cutting Oak Ridge's grid." I leaned back, stunned. "So I could black out the neighborhood?" She smirked. "Legally, yes. Practically, it's a sledgehammer. Arizona Power would panic, but you've got leverage. Let's verify the title and dig into Delaney Power Company's payments." Emma pulled up county records, confirming the trust's ownership of the cables, which powered 2,000 homes, including Oak Ridge. Then she frowned, clicking on an HOA budget. "Here's $20,000 a year to Delaney Power Company, owned by Karen's brother, Mitch Delaney, with Karen as a co-owner. No bids, vague invoices, classic fraud." My jaw dropped. She's fining me for a charger while pocketing our dues? "Looks like it," Emma said. "I'll file a records request for their contracts. Talk to Riley, see if he's heard about this energy plan." Back home, I found Riley tweaking a drone in his garage. "Karen's losing it," he said, wiping grease from his hands. "She's telling everyone your charger's a grid overload risk. Her energy plan's some big EV charging hub for Oak Ridge, but only her board cronies know the details." I saw Mitch Delaney's truck at her place, logo and all. That night, a new ally knocked on my door. Clara Hayes, a 67-year-old retired lineman who'd worked with my grandfather. Her weathered face broke into a grin. "Heard you're stirring up trouble, Lucas. Your granddad's trust owns those cables. I helped lay 'em in '65. Karen's brother's been sniffing around Arizona Power, pitching a charging hub on your lines right of way." I blinked. "They're after my trust land?" Clara nodded. "Mitch's company's in bed with a county official, Ted Morrow. They're planning to claim public utility rights to your cables." Dirty move. My blood ran hot. Karen wasn't just scamming dues. She was gunning for my family's legacy. But I had a plan. If she wanted my power lines, I'd make her beg for every volt. First, I needed protection. I ordered a set of smart sensors, motion-activated, Wi-Fi linked, to monitor my charger and garage. Riley helped me install them, rigging alerts to my phone. If Karen's goons came sniffing, I'd have them on lock. Emma called Tuesday with an update. "Title's confirmed. Bennett Trust owns the cables outright. I've drafted a letter to Arizona Power, demanding a lease renegotiation and halting any deals with Delaney Power Company. Also, their invoices are a joke. $25,000 last year for line maintenance that never happened." I grinned, picturing Karen's face when her brother's scam unraveled. But she was doubling down. Wednesday morning, I found a flyer on every neighbor's doorstep. "Oak Ridge Safety Rally. Stop Lucas Bennett's dangerous charger." It called for a protest outside my house Saturday, urging residents to protect our grid. Karen's name was stamped in red, like a war declaration. I texted Riley a photo of the flyer. "She's unhinged," he replied. "Some neighbors are pissed about the dues scam, but others are buying her safety spiel. Stay sharp." Friday night, my sensors pinged at 1 a.m. I checked the feed and froze. A figure in a dark jacket was tampering with my charger's wiring, tools glinting. The jacket had a logo, Delaney Power Company. I hit record, heart racing, and called Emma. "Karen's sending goons," I said. "Got him on camera." She replied, voice urgent. "Send me the footage." I just got Arizona Power's response. They're stalling on the lease, and Ted Morrow's name is on their emails. He's pushing Karen's charging hub, claiming your lines are county assets. They're trying to steal your trust. My stomach dropped. Karen wasn't just fighting over a charger. She was orchestrating a land grab, with county muscle behind her. Emma was already drafting a cease and desist, but Karen's rally was tomorrow, and that tampering was a warning shot. I had proof to burn her, but she'd come armed with a mob. What she didn't know was that I was ready to pull the plug on her entire scheme. Karen Delaney's neighborhood safety rally flyer was a battle cry, plastered across Oak Ridge Estates to paint my EV charger as a ticking bomb. After catching her brother's goon tampering with my wiring, Delaney Power Company logo glaring on camera, I knew she was desperate. But her plan to mob my house hit a snag. My family's Bennett Trust owns the power lines juicing her precious community, and I had proof of her county crony, Ted Morrow, scheming to steal them. Karen thought she'd fry me, but I was about to surge through her defenses. If you're cheering for an HOA takedown, buckle up. Got a story to spill? Hit the comments. Let's see how fierce this crew is. Saturday morning scorched Oak Ridge Estates, the desert sun blazing as Karen's rally kicked off. By 10 a.m., she turned my street into a circus. 30 neighbors crowded my driveway, waving signs like "Save Our Grid" and "No Charger Chaos." Karen, in a crisp white blazer, strutted like a general, megaphone blaring. "Lucas Bennett's charger endangers our homes," she shouted. "We demand its removal." Greg Turner, her treasurer puppet, handed out flyers, while Vanessa Reed, a 55-year-old HOA secretary with a vendetta for rule breakers, snapped photos for the newsletter. I stepped out, Emma Ruiz and Ryling Gwynn flanking me, Clara Hayes watching from my porch. "Karen, you're on my property," I called, voice steady. "And I've got video of your brother's thug messing with my charger last night." "Want to explain?" Emma held up her tablet, looping the footage of the hooded figure. The crowd hushed, straining to see. Karen's jaw tightened, but she pivoted. "That's a distraction," she snapped. "Your charger's a fire risk, and this community won't stand for it." "Fire risk?" I shot back. "Then why's Delaney Power Company, your brother's firm, pocketing $80,000 from our dues for fake grid work? Or why's Ted Morrow, your county buddy, pushing to grab my trust power lines?" A murmur rippled through the crowd. Vanessa's camera faltered. Greg stammered, "That's not true." But Karen's glare silenced him. I seized the moment, tossing Emma's financial records into the crowd. "Check the numbers. $20,000 a year to Karen's brother. No receipts. They're scamming us." The rally fractured. Elena Cruz, a 38-year-old teacher who'd always kept quiet, grabbed a printout. "Is this real?" she asked, voice shaking. "I've paid dues for years." Others nodded, clustering around Emma. Riley, grinning, whispered, "I hacked Karen's HOA email last night. She's emailing Morrow about a charging hub on your line's right-of-way. It's a land grab." Karen's megaphone screeched as she fought for control. "Lies. Lucas is sabotaging our energy plan." But Elena stepped forward. "I'm done with your secrets, Karen. I want answers." The crowd split, half cheering Karen, half siding with Elena, who joined us, clutching the records. Then Karen dropped her bomb. "Enough," she hissed, brandishing a document. "The county's issued a safety order, signed by Ted Morrow, to remove Lucas's charger as a hazard. Our energy hub is approved, and his trust lines are public assets." She waved the paper, triumphant. "We're suing to enforce compliance." My pulse spiked. "A county order?" Emma snatched the document, scanning it. "This is fake," she said, voice ringing. "Morrow's a planner, not a judge, no authority for orders. Your hub needs my client's lines, and he never consented. Arizona law protects his charger." The crowd roared, half outraged, half defiant. Elena shouted, "We never approved a hub." Riley projected Karen's hacked email on his phone, showing her telling Morrow, "Secure the lines, or we lose millions." Neighbors gasped, turning on Karen. Vanessa yelled, "He's hacking us," but Greg just shrank, sweating. Karen, cornered, switched gears. "Fine," she spat. "We'll protect Oak Ridge ourselves. Who's with me to stop this menace?" Her loyalists, Vanessa, Greg, and a dozen others, cheered, but Elena's group booed, demanding a board audit. The rally dissolved into shouting matches, Karen storming to her SUV, Vanessa trailing like a lost dog. Inside, Clara poured coffee, her eyes sharp. "Morrow's dirty," she said. "I worked with him in '85, always took kickbacks. He's banking on your lines for that hub's grid tie-in." Riley nodded, tapping his laptop. Karen's email mentioned a county vote next week to rezone your lines as public. Morrow's rigging it. Emma's phone bust. Arizona Power's panicking. They want to meet Monday about the lease. We've got them on edge. I spent the next day prepping with Emma. We sent Arizona Power a cease and desist, banning any hub deals without my trust approval. Riley rigged my sensors to stream live to Emma's office, ensuring any tampering would trigger an alert. Elena stopped by, offering to rally more neighbors. I teach kids to stand up to bullies, she said. Karen's no different. But Karen wasn't idle. Monday morning, a new flyer hit mailboxes. Emergency HOA vote to sanction Lucas Bennett. It demanded I remove my charger or face community action. I laughed, then tensed. Karen was mobilizing her mob again. That night, my sensor screamed at 3 a.m. I bolted to my phone, the feed showing a figure in a ski mask prying open my charger's panel, sparks flying. The mask slipped, revealing Vanessa Reed's face. I hit record, heart pounding, and called Emma. Got Vanessa sabotaging my charger, I said. It's on tape. Emma's voice was grim. Send it now. I just pulled Delaney Power Company's latest contract. $150,000 from the county for hub planning, signed by Morrow. It's a backdoor deal to seize your lines. My head spun. Karen wasn't just scamming Oak Ridge. She was in a county-wide hustle, with my trust lines as the prize. Emma was filing a fraud complaint, but Vanessa's sabotage was a red flag. Karen was getting reckless. Her emergency vote was tomorrow, and I had a feeling she'd bring more than ballots. What she didn't know was that I was ready to overload her entire operation. Catching Vanessa Reed on camera, her ski mask slipping as she sabotaged my EV charger, was a high-voltage win, but Karen Delaney's emergency HOA vote to sanction Lucas Bennett flyer was her counterstrike, aiming to brand me a neighborhood menace. With a $150,000 county contract tying her brother's Delaney Power Company to corrupt official Ted Morrow, she was gunning for my trust power lines. But I had footage, financials, and the Bennett Family Trust grip on Oak Ridge Estate's electricity. Karen thought she'd dim my lights, but I was about to electrify her downfall. If you're pumped for an HOA beatdown, stick around. Got a clash to share? Hit the comments. Let's see how live this crew is. Tuesday evening's emergency vote turned the Oak Ridge Community Center into a war zone. 70 residents packed in, the air thick with sweat and suspicion. Karen stood at the podium, her white blazer gleaming under fluorescence, flanked by Greg Turner and Vanessa Reed, who avoided my gaze. Flyers accusing me of grid sabotage littered the seats, and a banner read, "Protect Oak Ridge Safety." Karen's voice sliced through the buzz. "Lucas Bennett's charger threatens our homes," she declared. "Tonight, we vote to sanction him and save our community." I slipped in with Emma Ruiz, Riley Gwynn, Clara Hayes, and Elena Cruz, my unlikely strike team. Emma clutched a briefcase stuffed with evidence, while Riley synced his phone to a projector. Clara, the retired lineman, scanned the crowd, and Elena, our new ally, whispered, "Half these people are fed up. Let's light the fuse." I took the mic, ignoring Karen's glare. "Before you vote, Karen, explain why Vanessa was caught sabotaging my charger last night." I nodded to Riley, who projected the footage, Vanessa's face clear as she pried at my wiring. The crowd gasped, heads swiveling to Vanessa, who stammered, "That's not me." Emma stepped up, voice sharp. "It's you, Ms. Reed, and it's a felony. Now, explain why Delaney Power Company, owned by Karen's brother and her, got $80,000 from our dues for fake grid work." She tossed financial records into the crowd, showing $20,000 annual payments. Or why Ted Morrow, a county planner, signed a $150,000 contract for a charging hub on Lucas's trust power lines, without his consent. The room erupted. Elena grabbed a record, shouting, "This is our money." Neighbors mobbed Emma for copies, while others, like Mr. Lopez, a 62-year-old retiree, yelled, "Is this true, Karen?" Riley amped it up, projecting Karen's hacked email to Morrow. "Push the rezoning, Ted. We need those lines." The crowd roared, splitting into factions. Karen banged the podium, her face flushed. This is a smear campaign. Lucas is hacking our systems to destabilize Oak Ridge. Vanessa nodded furiously, but Greg just stared at his shoes mute. Elena took the floor, voice steady. I'm a teacher, Karen. I teach kids to call out lies. We want an audit now. Her group, 20 strong, chanted, audit, audit, drowning out Karen's loyalists. Then Karen played her ace. Silence, she barked, waving a document. The county's issued an easement decree, signed by Ted Morrow, granting Oak Ridge rights to Lucas's power lines for our charging hub. His trust claim is void. She thrust the paper forward, smirking. We're suing to remove his charger and enforce our rights. My stomach lurched. An easement decree? Emma grabbed the document, her eyes narrowing. This is forged, she announced. Morrow's a planner, not a court official. No power to issue decrees. The Bennett Trust's 1965 lease locks out county claims, and Arizona's HB 2456 protects Lucas's charger. She held up the lease, its red line map glowing on Riley's projector. Your hub's dead, Karen. The crowd went wild, half cheering, half booing. Mr. Lopez stood, furious. We never voted for a hub. Elena's group surged, demanding Karen's resignation. Vanessa shrieked, he's a criminal, but the tide was turning. Karen, cornered, pivoted. Fine, she hissed. We'll take action ourselves. Who's with me to protect our grid? Her loyalists, Vanessa, Greg, and 15 others, raised hands, but Elena's faction shouted them down, stalling the vote. The meeting collapsed into chaos, Karen storming out, Vanessa trailing. Greg lingered, muttering apologies, but nobody listened. Outside, Elena clapped my shoulder. You've cracked the HOA, Lucas. We're meeting tomorrow to push for a new board. Emma nodded, checking her phone. Arizona Power's begging for a lease meeting. Your threat's working. Clara grunted. Morrow's desperate. He'll push Karen to hit harder. Watch your charger. That night, I reviewed my sensor feeds, half expecting another attack. At 1 a.m., they pinged, a black pickup with no plates idling near my garage, its driver obscured. I recorded it, pulse racing, and sent the clip to Emma. She called at 6 a.m., voice tense. Lucas, I traced Delaney Power Company's accounts. They've got a hidden escrow with $300,000 tied to Morrow's office, labeled Oak Ridge Grid Project. This isn't just fraud, it's a payoff scheme. My head spun. Karen wasn't just scamming dues. She was running a county-level racket with my power lines as the jackpot. Emma was filing a whistleblower report to the Arizona Attorney General, but Clara's warning echoed. Karen was cornered, and cornered snake strike. By noon, a new HOA email hit my inbox. Community action to secure Oak Ridge Grid. It called for a peaceful demonstration at my house tomorrow, but the tone screamed trouble. Karen was planning something big, but what she didn't know was that I'd just wired a trap to shock her senseless. A black pickup with no plates lurking near my garage at 1 a.m. was Karen Delaney's warning shot, but her community action to secure Oak Ridge Grid email, calling for a demonstration at my house, was a declaration of war. With $300,000 in a shady escrow account linking her brother's Delaney Power Company to county crook Ted Morrow, she was hell-bent on snatching my trust power lines. But I had cameras, evidence, and the Bennett family trust chokehold on Oak Ridge Estate's electricity. Karen thought she'd cut my circuit, but I was ready to unleash a surge that'd fry her plans. If you're hyped for an HOA takedown, stay locked in. Got a fight to share? Hit the comments. Let's see how charged this crew is. Wednesday morning's demonstration turned my driveway into a battleground, the Arizona sun scorching as Karen led her charge. By 9 a.m., 40 neighbors swarmed, hoisting signs like "Stop the Charger Threat" and "Save Our Power." Karen, in a navy blazer, wielded her megaphone like a scepter, barking, "Lucas Bennett's charger risks our grid. We demand action." Greg Turner, her trembling treasurer, passed out flyers, while Vanessa Reed, still smarting from her sabotage bust, glared daggers. A news van from Phoenix's Channel 5 idled nearby, cameras rolling. I stood my ground, Emma Ruiz and Riley Gwynn at my side, Clara Hayes and Elena Cruz guarding my garage. Emma gripped her briefcase, packed with legal dynamite, while Riley synced his laptop to a portable screen. Clara scanned the crowd, muttering, "Karen's got muscle here. Watch for trouble." Elena, clutching a stack of financials, nodded. "Let's flip the switch." I raised my voice, cutting through Karen's megaphone. "Karen, your action is a sham. Vanessa's on tape sabotaging my charger, and your brother's company's been fleecing us for years." Riley projected the footage, Vanessa's face clear, sparks flying from my charger. The crowd gasped, some turning to Vanessa, who shrieked, "That's doctored." Emma took over, her tone icy. "Doctored? Then explain why Delaney Power Company, co-owned by Karen, got $80,000 from our dues for fake work." She held up records, tossing copies to the crowd. Or why Ted Morrow, a county planner, signed a $150,000 contract for a charging hub on Lucas's power lines, backed by a $300,000 escrow account for Oak Ridge grid project payoffs. The crowd exploded. Elena thrust a record aloft, shouting, "This is theft." Mr. Lopez, the retiree, joined her, yelling, "Where's our money?" Neighbors mobbed Emma's copies, while Karen's loyalists, Vanessa, Greg, and a dozen others, shouted back. Riley upped the ante, projecting a new hacked email from Karen to Morrow, payoff secured. Rezone the lines by Friday. The news crew zoomed in, sensing blood. Karen's megaphone wailed as she fought back. "This is a conspiracy. Lucas is extorting our grid." But the crowd was fracturing. Elena's group, now 25 strong, chanted, "Audit now." Karen's face twisted, and she played her next card. "Enough," she roared, waving a new document. The county's issued a seizure notice, signed by Ted Morrow, to take Lucas's power lines for public use. His charger's a hazard, and we're shutting it down. My heart raced. A seizure notice? Emma grabbed the paper, scanning it. "Another forgery," she said, voice booming. "Morrow's not a judge. His notice is worthless. The Bennett Trust's 1965 lease blocks any seizure, and Arizona's HB 2456 protects Lucas's charger. Your hub's a pipe dream, Karen." She flashed the lease map, its red lines glowing on Riley's screen. The crowd surged, half cheering, half booing. Elena's group drowned out Vanessa's cries of "liar" with demand for Karen's resignation. Then my phone pinged, a sensor alert. I checked the live feed. 2 figures in hoodies were at my garage, spraying paint on my charger, one wielding a crowbar. I hit the floodlights, shouting, "Caught you again." The news crew swung their camera, capturing the vandals fleeing, one dropping a Delaney Power Company badge. Karen's face went white, but she doubled down. "This proves nothing. We'll protect Oak Ridge ourselves." She rallied her loyalists, pointing at my house. "Tomorrow, we'll remove that charger, legally or not." Her group cheered, Vanessa leading the charge, but Elena's faction blocked them, shouting, "Back off." The news van peeled out, eager to break the story. Inside, Clara poured whiskey, her voice grim. Karen's unhinged. Morrow's pulling her strings. He needs your lines to save his skin. Riley, scrolling his laptop, nodded. Morrow's emails mention a state audit closing in. He's desperate. Emma's phone buzzed. The Arizona AG's office just called. They're investigating Morrow and Delaney Power Company for fraud based on our report. They want your footage. I sent the vandalism clip, adrenaline pumping. Thursday, Channel 5 aired a segment. Oak Ridge HOA in turmoil over fraud allegations. Neighbors knocked, some apologizing, others joining Elena's audit push. But Karen wasn't done. That night, my sensor screamed at 2 a.m. The feed showed a coordinated attack, 4 figures, masked, cutting my charger's cables, one planting a county condemned sign. I recorded it, heart pounding, and called Emma. She answered, voice urgent. "Lucas." I traced the escrow account. Morrow's funneling funds to a statewide fraud ring, skimming utility contracts. The AG's looping in the FBI. Your lines are their linchpin. My mind reeled. Karen wasn't just a greedy HOA queen. She was a pawn in a massive scam, and my power lines were the prize. Emma was prepping a federal complaint, but Karen's tomorrow threat loomed. Her crew was coming for my charger, and I had a sinking feeling they'd bring more than crowbars. I needed to cut their power, figuratively and maybe literally, before they struck. 4 masked figures cutting my EV charger's cables at 2 a.m., caught on my sensors with a fake county condemned sign, was Karen Delaney's last gasp. With a $300,000 escrow account tying her to Ted Morrow's statewide fraud ring, she thought she could unplug my Bennett Family Trust power lines and seize Oak Ridge Estate's grid. But I had footage, allies, and control over the neighborhood's electricity. Karen expected to douse my spark, but I was about to illuminate her defeat and light up Oak Ridge for good. If you've been rooting for this HOA smackdown, you're in for the finale. Got a win to share? Hit the comments. Let's make this crew unstoppable. The sabotage attempt lit a fire under me. By 3 a.m., I'd sent the footage to Emma Ruiz, my legal ace, who was already on the phone with the Arizona Attorney General's office. Riley Nguyen, my tech genius neighbor, streamed the clip to a secure cloud, while Clara Hayes, the retired lineman, watched my feeds from her house. Elena Cruz, our teacher-turned-rebel, texted, "Sheriff's on alert. We're with you." I rigged my sensors to blare an alarm if anyone breached my garage again, then waited, nerves buzzing. At dawn, my phone lit up. Sheriff's Deputy Mark Vega, a 42-year-old with a bulldog stare, was at my door. "Lucas, we've got 3 of your saboteurs in custody," he said. "FBI's got the 4th. They're tied to Delaney Power Company, Karen's orders." Behind him, an FBI van idled, and Agent Lisa Moreno, a 39-year-old fraud specialist, approached. "Your footage nailed them," she said. "Karen and Ted Morrow are being arrested now. Morrow's spilling. Your power lines were their ticket to a $10 million utility scam." My jaw dropped. Karen wasn't just a bully. She was a criminal mastermind's pawn. Agent Moreno showed me a wiretap transcript. Karen telling Morrow, "Cut his charger, Ted. We need those lines." The FBI raided Karen's house at 5 a.m., hauling her out in cuffs. Her navy blazer swapped for a sweatshirt. Channel 5's cameras caught it all, the ticker screaming. Oak Ridge HOA president arrested in fraud bust. Emma called, voice electric. "Lucas, the AG's charging Karen with fraud, conspiracy, and vandalism. Morrow's facing 15 years. His ring skimmed contracts across Arizona. Your evidence broke it open." She sent a file, the $300,000 escrow accounts ledger, showing payoffs to Morrow's cronies for fake grid projects, all tied to Delaney Power Company as hub plan. The community was in shock. By noon, Elena organized an emergency HOA meeting to clean house. The community center overflowed, 120 residents, some clutching Emma's financials, others glued to Channel 5's live feed. Greg Turner and Vanessa Reed tried to chair, but the crowd booed them out. Elena took the mic, fierce. "Karen's board is done. We're voting for new leadership and a full audit now." I stood, holding Emma's report. "Karen's company stole $80,000 from us, funneled $300,000 to Morrow's ring, and tried to seize my trust power lines for a scam hub. The FBI's shutting it down, but we can rebuild." I paused and dropped my plan. "I'm renegotiating the trust power line lease with Arizona Power for $3 million over 25 years. I want half to fund a free community EV charging hub, open to every resident." The room erupted in cheers. Mr. Lopez, once Karen's ally, shouted, "You're saving us, Lucas." Riley grinned, projecting a hub blueprint he'd mocked up. Clara clapped my back, muttering, "Your granddad'd be proud." The vote was a landslide. Elena, Riley, and Mr. Lopez as the new board, with a mandate for transparency. Vanessa slunk out, Greg trailing, their resignations emailed by nightfall. Emma pulled me aside. "The FBI's digging deeper. Morrow's ring spans 5 counties. Your lines are their linchpin." She showed me a seized email from Morrow to an unknown contact. "Bennett's trust is the key. Neutralize him." My gut twisted, but Agent Moreno assured me, "We're tracking his associates. You're safe for now." Friday, I met Arizona Power, signing a lease that kept Oak Ridge's grid humming while funding the EV hub. My chargers stayed up, now a beacon of defiance. Neighbors stopped by, Elena with coffee, Riley with a drone demo, even Mr. Lopez with an apology. The new board/dues posted budgets online and broke ground on the hub. Oak Ridge felt alive, not Karen's prison. Saturday night, I sat in my garage, my Tesla humming on its charger, the desert stars blazing outside. I thought of my grandfather, wiring these lines to power a community. I'd kept his legacy intact, turning Karen's scam into a win for Oak Ridge. But as I scrolled my phone, an encrypted email popped up. No sender, just a line. Morrow's down, but the grid still watched. Stay sharp. My pulse quickened. Emma had warned of Morrow's allies, and this felt like a shadow lingering. I forwarded it to Agent Moreno, who replied, "We're on it. Keep your sensors hot." For now, I'd won. My charger powered my car, and soon, Oak Ridge's hub would power our future. I wasn't just an engineer. I was the guy who rewired a neighborhood's heart.